A question came in, what hope of healing is there for someone with borderline personality disorder? This is a good question in its own right, and it also raises the question of what do you make of psychiatric labels? I'll answer the second question first and then work my way back. Essentially, psychiatric labels simply describe symptoms. Life and people live in the symptoms. So what that label is describing is a person, usually female, but can be male, who is, you could characterize these ways, extremely volatile emotionally, goes ballistic, fearful, rage, anxiety, highly manipulative, maybe making suicidal gestures, center of the universe, takes everything that happens personally. The universe revolves around me. And one of the things that also characterizes the people that are given this label, they tend to drive everybody in their world, including anybody who tries to help them, they tend to drive them nuts. Within the psychiatric world, borderline personality disorder is considered the untreatable disorder. It is a death sentence from the standpoint of psychiatry. We as Christians have a different point of view, and I have known people, I have worked with people, and others have, who fit the prototype and changed. Short of perfection, just like you, just like me, but genuine, qualitative change. It is a deep and thorny problem. Often are many. Just try to step into the sense of the experience, the sense of being utterly helpless in the universe, kind of an abandoned waif in a cosmic aloneness, or full of fear and tempted to withdraw into deep hiding, all kinds of barriers to honesty and to making myself known, or living as kind of queen or king in my own micro-universe with a world empty of real relationships, empty of God, empty of meaning, and this sense of entitlement and power and superiority and materialism, and I'll cut you off before you can reject me, and that, or a sense of just being at war with the whole world, the witch, angry, power-hungry, vengeful. There's a lot of very extreme imagery that captures what that experience is like. And at the same time, those are things that, it's part of why as Christians we take with a grain of salt psychiatric labels, that these are human phenomena. Very extreme, very hard, but human. And I will point you to something, an article that is posted with this. It's an article written by a psychiatrist named Jeffrey Boyd. It was written in our journal about 10 years ago. Boyd is the chairman of psychiatry and ethics at one of the teaching hospitals affiliated with Yale University. He is a Christian. And he gives in this article that I'll post, he gives a very fascinating case study of a woman that was just textbook, met the criteria that gives it a label. He talks about the way in which he even uses the phrase, she suffered from the most untreatable of psychiatric conditions, borderline personality. All her therapists gave up on her as untreatable. She had tried every single form of counseling, drugs, therapy known to man. Nothing had helped her. And then he tells the story of how at the birth of her daughter, it brought a crisis in her life that she would either change or she would lose the baby. And the way that Boyd describes his interactions with her, that crisis prompted her to search, I'll use his words, search more desperately than ever for a solution to her problems. Finally, she turned to Jesus Christ for the first time in her life and prayed for forgiveness. And for the first time felt acceptance and peace that she had never before experienced. From that day forward, he calls her Leslie, She never again attempted suicide. And then a really interesting description of the process of change. As she took root in this new soil, a profound psychological reorganization occurred. That's a very striking description of the transformation of who you are as a person, where being center of a terrifying, threatening, manipulatable world, you're not the center anymore. God is. Based on the experience of being forgiven and accepted at her core, her badness, she said, had been washed away by the blood of Christ. And then he talks about the way in which her life continued to unfold, and closes his article this way: in all my years as a psychiatrist, I have met only one person who ever truly recovered from borderline personality disorder. Her name is Leslie. And you can see in there this is the people that get this label are really stuck. This is deep weeds to live your life in. You can also see how the solution in Christ can and does, when genuine, it cuts as deep as the problem. Because in quote-unquote borderline personality disorder, you are the center of a world that is wholly misshapen. And when Christ becomes the center, the world starts to take on a completely different shape.